Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with the family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country. It's
time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is liberals are all hat and no cattle. David will have some comments about the 2017 SHOT Show, and then he and Gretchen will be talking about the not-so-peaceful transition of power. We'll be taking a look at the escalating Trump administration versus press war, and how the Democrats continue to do their best to defy the new president, including literally Obama's parting shot. And finally, the ultimate in political chutzpah, the Council on American Islamic Relations telling President Trump to cut his ties to Franklin Graham because Graham's views are incompatible with the U.S. Constitution. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
Texans have a saying for people who talk the talk but don't walk the walk. They're all hat and no cattle. A friend who shall remain nameless, lest he be target of liberal character assassins, sent me his take on the recent anti-Trump Women's March. He said it was nothing more than liberal women protesting a liberal cause in liberal cities being given liberal media coverage by the liberal media and liberal Hollywood performers. Essentially, it was an indictment of a failed liberal presidential campaign that reduced the Women's March to nothing more than a desperate attempt to rally their base to keep them relevant. All hat and no cattle. Partisan politics put aside, let's take a look at some hard facts. PolitiFact cites 533 campaign promises made by Obama that either never materialized or were significantly changed in scope after his election. My top four that were never implemented are a promise to reduce the Veterans Benefits Administration claims backlog, a promise to create a contracts and influence database disclosing how much federal contractors spend on lobbying and what they get in return, a promise to restrict warrantless wiretaps, and a promise to secure the borders. All hat and no cattle. Then there was the threats by liberals to disrupt the inauguration. The most egregious was by CNN's Wolf Blitzer, who the day before the inauguration made the casual observation that if someone assassinated the president-elect and vice president-elect before they were sworn in, there was a pathway by which the Obama administration could handpick a successor. You know, it was just a casual observation, part of a laundry list of interesting facts. So, Bob, President Trump's tie was handwoven from shreds of offshore manufacturing contacts. Or did you know 750,000 toothpicks will be used at tonight's inauguration parties? Or, you know, if somebody whacked Trump and Pence, we could get another screaming liberal into the White House. Wolf Blitzer has been blowhard, whose career is spiraling downward faster than an express elevator in Trump Towers, is all hat and no cattle. Another story said that butyric acid would be released during the event. It's that distinctive smell of human vomit, and in higher concentrations can cause health issues from a sore throat to loss of vision. Anyone who's ever lived with a golden retriever knows what I'm talking about. Butyric acid during the inauguration. All hat, no cattle. Then there was the threat of human blockades preventing the public from reaching the inauguration. The mob was slated to protest against a variety of Trump's proposed policies, from immigration reform to climate change. Trump apparently took it seriously, and even before walking into the Oval Office, removed the climate change information on the official White House website and replaced it with a set of his administration's policy pledges, including fierce support for law enforcement and gun owners' rights to defend themselves. Protesters' threats, all hat and no cattle. And finally, we have the 25 celebrities, many of whom are self-titled, who swore they would leave the country if Donald Trump was elected. Can you imagine the hubris of thinking if you threaten to leave the country, people will vote the way you want? The list included has-beens such as Barbra Streisand, Chloe Sevigny, and Raven Simone, as well as the top of the food chain, including Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Al Sharpton, and Whoopi Goldberg and Cher, or what I refer to as the top 4 reasons to vote for Donald Trump. Particularly Cher, who legitimately qualifies for inclusion in the 2017 Dumb as a Box of Rocks Award for celebrities by saying she'd move to Jupiter. Not a single one of them left the country, let alone the planet. All hat, but no cattle. Having given this some thought, it occurs to me that we're actually quite fortunate the liberals shoot from the lip, but never really follow up on much of anything, because if they did, this list would be dramatically shorter, and they would be small hat and all cattle. And as it turns out, cattle flatulence is largely responsible for climate change. Honest Democrats would result in more cattle, which results in more flatulence and ultimately the extinction of mankind. So when it comes to liberals, all hat and no cattle may not be such a bad thing after all. And that, Gretchen, is my return rant for the week.
Well, I know that everyone is happy to see you back. Nothing against Ed, but we already got one message on Facebook of somebody who is welcoming you back.
Thank
you. I'll never get over the on The View, Raven Simone actually said if any Republican is nominated, right, she was going to leave the country.
Not one of these people have moved.
Well, not only that, but it's like, okay, you clearly don't understand how this system works.
Right. Exactly.
If you don't even want a Republican to be nominated.
Well, they actually may not even want a Republican to be nominated. I don't know. It's they're bizarre. They really are. But you know, if you look back over 8 years, even I didn't realize how many promises he'd made that he never kept. But obviously, there are people who keep track of that stuff. Which is handy. It's interesting. Liberals, they do that. They make these bizarre, sweeping statements, and I don't know if they actually believe that they'll do them, or that they know they're just full of crap.
I don't know. It's a really good question.
It's hard to say.
It's one for the ages.
Well, give us a call, 815-205-1584. I'm back. 815-205-1584, and weigh in on that. I wanted to say a little bit about the SHOT Show. You know, I went there and did the news. It wasn't on Target Radio. I was just a hired pretty face. Well, maybe not that, but did news, and it was a lot of fun. It's hectic. It's like early morning to, and one after another. It gets hectic. But I interviewed some very cool people. Kim Rohde being one. The only one American in history has won 6 Olympics in a row.
Medals.
And she was
six medals.
Six medals in a row. And she started at age 13. Only 2 people in the world have done it. They told me where the other one was from.
The other guy's Italian, I think.
Somewhere, yeah, probably in a Ferrari or something. You never know. Yeah. But Kim Rohde started at age 13. She's now prepping for 2020, and the next one, 2024, is going to be where she lives. So she says, "Well, I'm going to do that one too."
Yeah, why not?
It was good, but it was a good show. Set a record: 65,000 attendees. 1,700 exhibits, and they have a waiting list for exhibitors of 2,000.
Wow.
They just literally have no more room. They're totally out of room. We went to, Eric, I'm always talking about how we have 268 acres at Aurora. We're like the big gorilla.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I go to on Monday is industry day at the range, right? And journalists go, right? And they can shoot guns, new guns and stuff. Our club, and I love Aurora. Our club I love it, would be like the back door to this place. It is in the desert. And I mean, to say it's massive is an understatement. There's just ranges forever. Everywhere you look, it's amazing.
I'll have to see that one day.
I shot a 6.5 Creedmoor, 900 yards, hit it every time. Beautiful rifle.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Had a good time. Should have been there.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. We should all go. We'll all go next year because I'm sure they'll never hire me again after they see what I did this year.
Really?
No, it was fun. I met a lot of cool people. I had a good time. I met the Hogue brothers, Hogue Grips. Hogue Grips. Mm-hmm. They're old as, like 60 years old, I think. And the father passed away, but the brothers now run it, and really nice guys. I just met a whole bunch of good people, made some contacts. Anyway, I just wanted to say that it was, if you've never been to the SHOT Show, you can't begin to believe how big it is. It takes up the entire Sands Convention Center.
It is huge. Yes, yeah. It is massive.
They have more
things.
It's
on like 3 levels, too.
Yeah, they have more stuff they want to do, and they physically do not have an empty room in the entire convention center. It's all been taken up.
Sure.
So it was pretty good. Anyway, give us a call, 815-205-1584. We're going to talk a little bit more about Obama and that whole thing. When we come back, we got to, pay some bills. Not that
not that these advertisers are paying
not
bills.
they're really paying anyway, but we do have to take a little break. You did bring up a good point a little while ago about our breaks need to be a little longer if you want to, go potty.
Well, right. You were talking about having a 2-hour show, and I said if we're going to have a 2-hour show, we need longer breaks because, after I'm almost out of water already. So, you gotta use the bathroom, you gotta get more water. We have to finish reading our background material.
So no, I'm not going to touch that joke. We're going to let that go. All right. Anyway, we will come back after a few messages with more water, whatever we need.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's myeditor@mail.com, or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
So, we were talking about, all hat and no cattle, all the liberal nonsense. And you read about, this is a little bizarre, actually. They found all these guns, right, along the river. What's a little bizarre is they were in a violin case.
Well, some of them.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if they were left over from, like, Al Capone or something, you know?
There was guns in a violin case, also pails, plastic garbage bags. Various methods of hiding and storage, apparently.
Before the inauguration. And it says nobody ever hikes on that side of the canal. Well, obviously somebody does.
Yeah.
Because somebody found it and somebody put it there.
Yeah, that was sort of hyperbole.
There was a lot of internet talk about, assassinations, and they talked about a tactical nuke. Did you read that one?
No.
Yeah, that's and see, these people like Wolf Blitzer. Did you actually hear Wolf Blitzer? It's worth going and watching the clip because he's a sneaky SOB, if they assassinated the president-elect when in the history of the United States has a journalist written whatever said, well, if they assassinate him before they,
Right.
They didn't say it about Obama, did they?
No.
I don't know how they get away with this.
I don't know.
So they say, well, we're not telling you to do it. Why would you bring it up?
I was going to say, if flip it, if Fox News had said it before Obama was inaugurated,
they'd be off the air.
They'd be like, haul off in handcuffs.
Right. It astounds me. And I asked Ronkowski this very thing. And, of course, his point was they wouldn't prosecute him under the Obama administration. But Soros, they have email. Clearly, it's his email. Mm-hmm. Clearly, he's being seditious. He's talking about undermining the presidency. He's paying people to go out and riot and burn buildings and stuff. He gets a pass.
Yeah.
If we did that, can you imagine?
No, they'd lock us up and throw away the key.
They would. Now, I just read, who was it? Andy McDowell. Where was she speaking? Somewhere. I can't remember where. But she was speaking.
I didn't hear this one.
And she made, she made a comment about she was so upset by the election, she thought of blowing up the White House.
Oh, no, that was Madonna. That was not
I'm
Andy
sorry.
McDowell.
You're right.
That was
That's
frickin'
right.
Madonna.
It was Madonna. That is right. Yep. Andy McDowell was talking somewhere else about something. But, yeah, it was Madonna. It's Madonna, man. McDonald. Is that not... I mean, when somebody publicly says
I heard she's going to be investigated.
Well, that's what I
I saw that. No, I don't know if it was true. It was not from a credible source necessarily. So, but
let's see.
One can hope.
Would that be Attorney General Holder? Oh, wait, no. He's not the Attorney General anymore.
No.
What a shame for that, yeah. So...
Nor Loretta Lynch.
I would hope that they go after her for that kind of statement, because if a conservative said something like that, the hue and the cry would be unbelievable.
Oh, like I said, we'd be hauled off in handcuffs.
Give us a call, 815-205-1584 on Target Radio. And we're talking about Trump, and they're relentless. They just will not give up. They just did a hit piece on Tom Price, who the guy for Health and Human Services, and it turned out to be bunk. The deal was...
The interesting thing is, I heard the original story,
and
I did not hear the fact that it was debunked.
So,
again, same thing with they said Trump had the bust of Martin Luther King Jr. removed from the Oval Office, which was not true. And they
knew it wasn't true.
Yeah, it was debunked almost immediately, and and this morning Kellyanne Conway was like, but it's still out there in like 3,000 different places.
And that's the problem. Once something like that's out, you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Right.
The interesting thing about the Martin Luther King bust is when the White House, see, they're not used to the White House saying you're lying, because the White House is always just shut up. And for the past 8 years, they wanted him to lie.
Well, but, they were complicit for the last 8 years. So,
but when they got called on the carpet for it, did you read what she said?
No.
Oh, well, maybe somebody was standing in front of it when they took the picture. Well, then, if somebody was standing in front of it,
why would you say that?
Why would you say it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There was some other thing, too, that just came up now. It crossed my mind. I forgot what it is. But they're just making stuff up. So the deal with Price, the nugget of truth is that transaction was, in fact, made.
Right.
What they didn't
his
tell.
portfolio bought a stock in a company, and then less than a week later, Price introduced legislation that would benefit that company ultimately.
But he doesn't manage the portfolio.
And it was a very small amount.
Yeah. And so I just find it hard to believe that, I forget who managed it. Was it
Morgan Stanley?
Morgan Stanley. For that size, well, first of all, when they're managing a portfolio, they don't call you and ask you. Cy doesn't call me and ask me about mine. I get these things in the mail. It goes, we did this, we did that. So that right from the beginning. But secondly, even if they did, they wouldn't for something that small. They're not going to call the White House and go, we're going to make a transaction for like $1,000 here. Can you
Yeah, it turns out it was $2,697.74. But
I'm going to manipulate the entire market for that $2,000 transaction.
Right, exactly. I mean, how many times would it have to, multiply itself for it to even be worth the ethics investigation? I mean, of course he didn't do that.
I think they're going to nip at his heels for 4 years.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the election now is what, 2 months ago?
Yeah,
November, December, 2.5 months ago. They're still yapping and whining like spoiled little children. I mean, I thought once winter hit, it started to get cold, everyone would go inside. That would be the end of it.
You thought the weather was going to make a difference?
I really, it's okay to riot and stuff and loot when
literally
it's warm.
Freeze them out.
Yeah, but when it's like 20 below zero, you'd think they go home. But then apparently Soros pays them a lot, so they don't go home. I don't know, but it's crazy. I guess the question really is, if the White House keeps holding them, their feet to the fire, like CNN and go, that's a lie, At some point, will advertisers start? I wonder if they're already losing advertisers.
I'm guessing probably not, because it does make for good television of them fighting. Them being at loggerheads is good television. I was watching the Today Show and Meet the Press this morning, and especially Chuck Todd and Kellyanne Conway going at it. That's good TV. I mean, I have to admit,
Meet the Press is editorial.
If I'm yes, but if I'm trying to market my product and get my message out, and it has a reputation of being good television, they're going to get a lot of viewers, and it's going to help me get my message out.
Maybe the answer, there was a time that CNN was the vaulted. I mean, they were top banana, and you may like or not like, and I didn't like what was his name that owned it, Fonda's husband, ex-husband. Turner. I always thought he was a jerk, but CNN had huge amount of credibility worldwide.
Not anymore.
No. And at some point, you'd think the advertisers would go. Maybe the trick is conservatives need to start calling those advertisers saying, we're not going to spend money with you anymore.
Yeah, well, that's what the American Family Association does. They boycott the hell out of anybody who crosses them, and they're very successful. They got Ford to back down, Campbell's. I mean, all sorts of huge companies. They get them to back down and stop doing whatever it is they don't want them to do.
I think it was them that sent me, probably you got one too, the map of the United States on conservative versus liberal, and it said it's all red, right? It's all red except for around the fringes, and it said, so the blue guys want to declare war on the red guys, and 95% of the guns are in the red.
Actually, I put that on Target Radio.
Did you put it up there? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That was pretty funny.
Well, and one of our astute followers on Facebook asked, is there a source for this map? Because he wanted to be...
Where did it come from?
Well, it was just a meme that I saw, and I did find what appears to be its original source, pre-meme.
Was it from Russia?
Before it was made into a meme. No, it was from Common... What was it called? Let me scroll.
Tom Paine, Common Sense.
Let me scroll down here. And but I never did find what their source was for the data. Common Room. The commonroomblog.com.
Really?
Me neither. It does appear to be conservative, but I've never heard of it. Huh. It's not like Freedom Outpost or one of the ones that's really well known. But I did find a similar, very similar map on NewYorkTimes.com. So, not exactly the same, but very similar.
Trump got on the press again. Girly boys, he called them. Girly boys. We'll keep talking about Trump when we come back. We got a few brief messages. We'll be back with more On Target Radio.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
So, the parting shot from our prior president, literally, late in the day, it says on January 19th, right? About as late as you could go. You'd think he'd be packing or something. You know what I'm saying? You'd think he'd be doing something useful. Like
he's got people to do this.
Loading the station wagon.
He's got servants.
I wonder if he had a U-Haul or something.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. God knows that perk. They probably loaded Air Force One and took it all to Hawaii.
No, they went to Palm Springs this time.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Last trip. they flew them there tonight. They got to get back on their own.
Right.
I got to fly back coach.
And
probably.
no Secret Service either. Bye-bye. Oh, you don't remember that? Clinton passed, under Clinton, a law was passed that ex-presidents don't get Secret Service anymore. They have to pay for their own security.
No, I don't remember
George
that at
W. was the first one that it happened to.
I didn't know that. So
it took effect after Bill Clinton was not in office anymore. Yes.
Somehow I missed that.
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that's news
like
to me.
Right up your alley.
It would be, and I just I was probably napping. I don't know.
For the last several years.
So he's in Palm Springs without. I don't even want to say that. If I just say that, they'll be at the front door.
No, Wolf Blitzer did it. It must be okay.
Well, he's a commie. Well, he's probably not a commie. He's just probably a socialist pig.
Yeah, potato.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to be more interesting is when he comes back to Chicago with no security.
Yeah.
Was that somebody whose voice I've never heard before?
Where did that come from?
I don't know. That's true. And particularly, his house is in an okay area, but that area in general is not an okay area. You ever been down there?
No, I haven't.
It's U of C.
It's like Hyde Park.
It's Hyde
right?
Park, yeah. And which there's some very nice
it's
parks.
It's like
there.
a little island, and then there's like crap all around it.
Yeah, it's an enclave. It really is. And you walk like one block too far.
And the UFC police, I mean, that's like real police because there's like crap goes on around there.
Because there is. It's in a bad neighborhood.
Right. That's what I mean.
I don't know. But what I was going to say is his parting shot is he did a lead ammo ban. Like hours before he ceased to be president, right? Mm-hmm. Director's Order number 219, like that matters, of the Fish and Wildlife Service. So the deal is now you have to use non-toxic, well, actually there's a date on it, 2022, non-toxic ammunition and fishing tackle on service lands, waters, and facilities, and for certain types of hunting and fishing regulated by the service outside of those areas. Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound like a really big deal, but it's a pain in the neck. Mm-hmm. Steel shot or they use not just steel, they use different types. It has different characteristics. I mean, you got to learn to shoot the stuff. And here's the interesting thing. They say that the purpose of that is because it goes in the water and like ducks and stuff, they're divers and they feed, right? However, they cannot produce a single case of having dragged a dead duck out of the water that had lead in it.
Like ingested, yeah.
Yeah, they've never been able to actually show that happening. And believe it or not, fish don't eat lead balls off the bottom of lakes.
No. Does it contaminate the water in any way?
Well, see, now I'm an expert on that because we were being sued
Tell us
by
what
the
you know about
Attorney
that.
So, no, actually, it's pretty inert. It just sits there.
Okay.
If there's a high I think it's alkaline.
Doesn't
if the water
decay
is
that
high in
much.
alkaline, then it could. But in our particular case,
The water's
it's not.
acidic.
Yeah, it's not a problem. We were more worried about bats and some errant plant and slipper shell mussels.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I went and barbecued a whole bunch of them. We don't have them anymore.
It's
That's
not
a
a
joke. It's a joke.
It's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, the Attorney General probably be at my door in the morning. What?
Yeah.
So anyway, somebody just popped up on my screen. That's interesting. Anyway, give us a call, 815-205-1584. Why are you so quiet? Talk. Say something interesting or exciting. The ban on lead goes fully into effect in January 2022. So the big question is Trump just going to write that puppy off like the rest of them?
Sure.
Yeah,
it says that over the next 24 months, each regional director should work with individual states, blah, 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 to identify opportunities to expand existing state, federal, or tribal requirements for use of non-toxic ammunition, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, the regional directors are probably going to just sit on this for a little while and see what Trump says.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, at this point, it'd be kind of stupid to do anything that follow anything that Obama said. You know what? You know what I'd love to see him do, and probably 99% of the people who listen to this show, all one of them, have no idea about this. But the northern Minnesota boundary waters, which are the waters that separate Canada from the U.S. in northern Minnesota, back in the '60s was declared a wilderness area, and they banned all motorized boats and portages and everything except for one or two very, very specific areas. And it's not like it was ever really a big deal to begin with. I'd really like to see him just get rid of that. I really would. Although I was just talking to somebody recently, and it used to be you had to have a reservation. You still have to have a reservation to go in there, right, to go into that water, whether you go fishing in a boat or, which is very limited where you can go in a motorboat, or you take a canoe. You got to have a reservation. And it used to be, when they started this, like reservations would sell out in one night for an entire year. I was talking to somebody who has a resort up there now, and they're saying it's not that crowded anymore. I guess people got tired of putting up with it. So,
yeah, supply and demand.
Yeah, I was thinking I might get back up there and, for a day or something, go fishing, take a guide out and see places I used to go to 60 years ago. So anyways, nostalgia, what am I going to tell you? But the point is, there is a lead ammo ban that's coming up if he doesn't rescind the order. And I would suggest that shooters should probably call their congressman and say, you know what, we don't want that.
Yeah.
We don't want that. And the other big thing they say he's still working on is they want to have national reciprocity.
Yes.
That would be cool. I think that's going to be a bigger problem than they think it's going to be.
I think so too.
Yeah, because you're going to get a lot of pushback from like California, New York. There's going to be a lot of issues, and even though we control it, Congress, that could be a harder play.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I think the states that have very restrictive laws, like California and New York and New Jersey, places like that, I think they're going to push back a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the states that, and maybe, maybe I'm showing my ignorance, but maybe the states that have constitutional carry, they're going to have to print some kind of a permit for their people when they leave the state. And part of the reason to have constitutional carry is to save money. Yeah. It's your state saves money if you don't have to print a permit or a license of any kind for concealed carry or open carry or whatever it is that you have. And so the states that have that are saving a significant amount of money. I mean, that's same thing with recognizing other states' permits. They save money by not having a program. So Utah has a program for out-of-state,
Yeah.
for non-resident concealed carry. You apply, they do a background check on you. They get money from it, but they also have personnel and they have expenses that go along with that. And so other states like Iowa, my family's from Iowa, so Iowa simply just recognizes whatever state's permit that you have. And so they save a lot of money by doing that.
Sure.
So I think that, there's also going to be some pushback from those states of we don't want to have to print something because we're saving a lot of money.
And the problem is compounded by the fact that there are pro-Second Amendment people that don't support it.
Yes.
Because their position is, why are we doing this at all? We shouldn't have to do any of this.
Right.
And so, theoretically, they could be calling their congressman going,
don't do it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's.
I think that, tell me your opinion, but my feeling is that that's probably a pretty small sliver of the 2A community.
Probably, but small slivers can move mountains sometimes.
And it's also a vocal sliver.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like your, what's that guy's name out in Arizona? Alan.
You talking about the sheriff?
No.
Oh, no, you're talking about Alan Gottlieb.
Yeah, Gottlieb.
Yeah.
Very vocal, very influential,
Yeah.
very well known. So, there's that as well.
Did you guys, I don't remember, did you talk about last week Ron Diesel?
No, that hadn't happened yet.
Was it happened after Sunday then? It was, sure, because I was already there.
Yeah.
Exactly, I was already there. That's probably worth spending a minute or two on.
Sure.
We're going to have to take a break here in about a minute and a half or so, but remind me, we should bring that up when we come back, because that's a big deal.
Well, we could probably talk about it now.
Okay, we could talk about it now. So Rhonda, and we know Rhonda Diesel, nice lady.
Yeah.
You'd asked me about that, so, and I didn't, because we were texting back and forth. I was out there and you were here. So what happened with that was Diesel won.
This is Diesel versus Chicago.
Yeah, Diesel over gun stores, gun ranges specifically. About the city of Chicago won't let you have ranges. And,
Both, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Diesel won the lawsuit, but what they immediately did is turn around, passed ordinance saying, well, you can't have within 500 feet of anything, and effectively eviscerated the finding that they had to allow. Then they said, you can build one, you just can't do this. It had to be in an industrial area. It couldn't be within 500 feet of, I don't know, churches and all kinds of
schools and
stuff.
parks and
right.
Yeah.
So they effectively made it impossible to build a range while saying go ahead and do it.
Sure.
So it went back, and what the appellate court came back and said is no, that's no.
That's not the spirit of what we.
That's not the
ruled.
spirit. Right. To go drink some more spirits, you lose. So now that stuff, they said, what they literally said is, the state did not show compelling reason why it can't be within 500 feet or why it has to be in an industrial area. They're saying it was for safety reasons. There's no example of rounds leaving an indoor range that they can point to. All right, we're going to come back to a few messages. Give us a call, 815-205-1584, and we'll be back with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Over a half-century ago, a respected firearms store opened. It started as a hobby for Mike Schrank and has now served generations of customers. Schrank's Smoke and Gun retains a family atmosphere and now carries the largest selection of new, used, and consignment firearms in Lake County. From pistols, rifles, and shotguns to hard-to-find calibers, collectibles, and older functioning hunting rifles. You'll also find full gunsmith services, from simple detail cleaning to complete rebuilds. Whether you're thinking about your first firearm in a FOID card or looking to add to your collection, visit Schrank's Smoke and Gun. If you have a firearm to sell, their recent sale was so successful they need your firearms. And if you love cigars, you'll find your favorites in Schrank's humidors, along with a broad selection of pipes and tobacco. Visit smoke, the letter N, gun.org, or call 847-662-4034. Schrank's Smoke and Gun in Waukegan, your family-owned gun store since 1964. That's 847-662-4034.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
I lost it. Here it is. The ISRA would like supporters to file witness slips in support of Senate Bill 50. SB 50, the suppressor bill, ironically, has been posted for Criminal Law Committee on Wednesday, January 25th at 9 a.m. I posted complete instructions on our Facebook page earlier this evening. Care and maintenance of the M1 class will be held at the ISRA Range Classroom on Saturday, February 4th, 2017 from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Cost is $30 for ISRA members or $65 for non-members. To sign up, go to isra.org/events/the-official ISRA calendar.aspx and click on Care and Maintenance of the M1. I put this on Facebook last week. The following Safer USA class is at our facility in Waterman, Saturday and Sunday, February 4th and 5th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
The piece about Trump getting on the press again, it is pretty funny.
Read a little of it, did you?
Yeah, I did. Well, you know, sometimes I actually read the show prep. It's rare, but it is pretty funny. This guy, maybe Eric Rush. I'm not familiar with him. I hadn't heard his name before. I think he's copying me.
I think he is.
Yeah,
I think he is.
I got to be older than him, so you know.
Because you're older than everyone.
Right, exactly. It was nice at the SHOT Show that there were some people who were older than I was. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They carried them out in ambulances. But yeah, they were.
I was going to say, who were they?
Yeah,
they were being recognized for like World War II service or something.
And next, Robert Jones being recognized for inventing flintlocks. Yeah. And to give the award, David Lombardo, the only person here older than Robert. Yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, this the thing about Trump and the press. I think this is going to be one of the hallmarks of the Trump presidency, not letting the press get away with anything.
Well, it's pretty much a long time coming.
Yeah. I really get a kick out of what he wrote. He goes, the left doesn't fear and despise Donald Trump because he's an ideological conservative, because, as we know, Donald Trump is not an ideological conservative. And then it goes on and it says, he's a different breed of cat and one that is apparently immune from rhetorical poison arrows loosed by progressives. Rather than cowering like a wee lass at press conferences, he comes out swinging or ready to bend them over, as the case may be. I love that. That's great. I am jealous. Anyway.
I like the other part. Far-left politicos have come to resemble a gaggle of frail, scrawny older men in period costume, clinging to one another and squealing in girlish terror while being menaced by the cast of The Expendables.
Oh. It's going to be an interesting 4 years. It really is. One of the things I want to get in, I forgot we're going to our last segment here, but one of the things I definitely want to talk about, they've been right away. What, day one or day two? He signed, was it an executive order? Was it, I don't remember, about starting to dismantle Obamacare?
Yeah, was it yesterday?
I think it was.
I think it was yesterday, so day two, yeah.
'Cause
the first day he signed a bunch of stuff. I think it was his cabinet appointees.
Yeah, right.
Is what he was signing.
Yeah.
The first day.
And Mad Dog Madden's paperwork that he could be the Secretary of Defense. Because he's, what is it? Is it two? I forget.
It has to be like 7 years out of service.
You can't.
Which is seems kind of crazy to me.
Well, yeah.
It seems to me like you'd want somebody whose experience was recent.
You'd think that, but I think I can see the issue because congressmen do it all the time. They go from one chair to another one.
Right.
And I think the concern is that when you are a commanding general and you're signing contracts and bids and stuff, that they go, hey, listen, Mad Dog, buddy, we got a $500,000 a year job for you here if you buy Air Force One, for instance. I love the comment that Trump made about Air Force One. We want Boeing to make a lot of money, just not that much money. Yeah, that's beautiful. But I do want to, before we...
I am wondering what they're going to do about that, though. Like, are they going to use the old Air Force One, or...
Well, that Air Force One wouldn't be done during his presidency. It'll take half a decade at
so
least.
It's for the next guy.
Oh, yeah. It'll be half a decade at least 5 years, 6 years before it'll ever see the air. Yeah.
Okay.
They don't... probably a lot of people don't know this. You don't crank out, and I'm not being facetious, you don't crank out planes like, one a day. I mean, they take a long time to build, and that's a new platform.
Well, I knew it was months, but I didn't know it was that long.
Well, this is a whole new platform that they're inventing. So
okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of presidential vehicles, did you see what I put on Facebook that on Inauguration Day, I was stuck at home waiting for some repair people to show up at my house. And so I was watching it on television. Chuck Todd accidentally was still talking about the Beast, which is the limousine that the president rides in. It's bulletproof, and all that stuff. And so it's this armored limousine, and they call it the Beast because it's really heavy because of all the armoring that they put on it. And while he was still talking about the Beast, they cut to footage of Hillary Clinton coming out of the
Beast?
No, out of the ceremony. Out of the Capitol building.
As they were saying, the Beast.
And he's still talking about the Beast, and then you see, and it was really priceless.
That's funny.
And I'm like, there's a producer at NBC that lost their job, I think.
Or has a great sense of humor, one or the other. Yeah.
No, I think they lost their
That's
job.
funny. Well, yeah, if it was NBC, they probably did.
Yeah.
She's probably became one of Hillary's closest friends and is dead.
Right. They're on the list now.
Before we fold our tent and steal off into the night, the irony of this is just drips with irony. CARE, which is the Council on American Islamic Relations, which is a designated terrorist organization.
Yes.
Which we know beyond the shadow of a doubt. We know factually they give money to terrorist organizations.
Yes.
And they're the American mouthpiece for, it's like
The Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah, years ago there used to be the Anti-Italian, Anti-Defamation League, okay? And they would come on, they'd run ads, and they'd come on the TV and they'd go, hey, Italians make us out to be like mob guys. That's not true.
We're not all godfathers.
No, businessmen, you know what I'm saying?
We're respectable businessmen.
You said that, whack him. So that's what CARE is.
That's funny. I didn't know that's what the Anti-Defamation League was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard of them. I didn't know that's what it was.
Well, you got to remember, like in the 50s, you had all these anti-mob, because that was the big thing, right? The FBI. Hoover wouldn't recognize that there was organized crime until Bobby Kennedy said, face it or get fired. And then they started putting the heat on the mob, and there were shows like The Untouchables was on. There were all these, mob kind of related things. Yeah, mob's bad, mob is bad, which is ironic because as that mob historian said on the show a couple of years ago, Chicago ran better when the mob ran it. But anyway, that's what CARE is. CARE is basically a whore for. I mean, that's what they are, and they go. There is nothing wrong with Muslims in this country. It's not a problem. It's workplace violence when you cut the head off of the person in the next cubicle because you can't see over his head. If he does not go lower than me, I cut his head off. So CARE comes on and they go, it's okay to cut the head off, and this is offers workplace violence. It has nothing to do with religion. So what do they say to Trump? This is a rhetorical question, by the way, because I intend to answer it.
Okay.
What do they say to Donald Trump about Franklin Graham, the son of
Billy Graham?
Billy Graham.
The Reverend.
Billy
Graham.
Who literally was counselor to every president until he really got old.
Couldn't
do it. He just couldn't. And so his son has taken over.
Yeah. It was either George H.W. was his last one or Clinton was his last one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember. But in any event, so what do they say about Franklin Graham? Now, this is unbelievable that they would have this. What's the word? Chutzpah. Okay? Chutzpah. They said that Donald Trump should cut his ties to Franklin Graham, who's given an inaugural prayer, because they claim that Graham's views are ill-informed and extremist views that are incompatible with the Constitution. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. These people are making excuses for bombings and sawing heads off of people, which apparently is compatible with the Constitution under Democratic rule. And Graham, who is a really, I'm not his denomination, but he's a very religious man, and he, I think that's the height of hypocrisy. I just do. I think it's, and I would love to have been a fly on the wall however they contacted Trump, texted him. I don't know what they did. Trump, don't do this with him no more. I would love to have heard what his comment was when he read that. I really would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder if Trump uses profanity in private because he doesn't in public. Unlike Richard J. Daley.
Well, I was going to say what politician does, but Daley was.
There have been those.
Daley could have been on this show. Actually, he could have been.
No, you told me I wasn't allowed to curse.
Well, yeah, but the point is that
I walked the line.
That I would have to tell you not to do that. It's yeah. This from the woman who throws candy at students. I go in there like seals. Go.
You know what? You're just jealous because I get more class participation than you do.
Yeah, but they OD on sugar. But when I get them the next day, they're semi-comatose.
Yeah.
Some of them don't go home. They're just laying there foaming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of like the whole grandparent thing. You sugar them up and then send them home because it's not your problem.
Grandparents, the grandparents love to do that. Grandparents have it made. They get what they want, and then they send the kid back home. Oh, we had a great time for 37 seconds. Go home.
Or in my mom's case, she just comes home.
She comes home. That's right. Yeah. I don't know. So
she just exits stage left. It makes it really easy.
We got 57 seconds of nothing.
Yeah. What are we going to do for 57 seconds? I think you should do some more of your your Arab accents. You were crossing over into like Russian or something there at the end. It was pretty.
Is there a big difference?
It was pretty
not
humorous.
Not in Afghanistan, anyway.
Well, okay, maybe not, but.
So now the Irish is not good enough. I have to do Arab.
No, and that's just what you were just doing. You could. I've told you before. You could read the phone book with the Scottish accent, and I would listen to it all day long.
It will be tough to maintain a Scottish accent. Did you ever hear Robin Williams talk about the Scottish accent?
Oh,
it's
I'm not sure. I'll have to look that one up.
Oh my God! You'll pee. It's so funny. He's talking about golf.
Okay.
He's talking about the guy who invented golf, and he's doing it in a Scottish accent.
It does sound familiar.
Oh, it is
I can't think of it
absolutely
right now.
hysterical. We're going to put a wee hole all the way over there, and we're going to have to swing it with the club. We're going to chop away with the club. Okay, we're done. We'll be back next week doing something. I don't know what, but something. Thank you for listening. Tell your friends. We just sort of blew through the whole thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do
It
that.
was a good time, though.
It was a good time. Thanks to all the people who advertised with us. And if you don't want to advertise with us, the heck with you.